If someone would have told me that the Fed is going to hike rates again, highest since 2001, and the market would rip up, I wouldn't believe it. Well, that's what happened this week. Let's summarize the week, all the news, everything that happened from the macro perspective all the way to the individual companies, and then get prepared for the week ahead. Are you ready for it? The beginning of the video, I have a programming note, so stay tuned. Are you ready for it? Let's go. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm Micha Stocks on our channel called Stock Talk with Micha Stocks, where we talk about stocks. A quick programming note before I dive into the videos and talk about the channel, as this is going to be the last video for the next 3 weeks since I'm traveling and I won't be able to record these weekly summaries. This is the last day that I'm in the studio. So for the next 3 weeks, unless there is an availability that I can do something, I apologize in advance. But how would you know if I uploaded a new video? If you'd subscribe to the channel, of course, and then turn notifications on, you'll be able to know that I'm uploading a new video. Let's dive directly in, and starting by the major averages. The Dow finishing the last 14 days with 13 green days. 13 days on the green, which is amazing. At the end of the day, for the whole week, the Dow is only up 33 basis points. As you can see, 0.33. S&P up 0.8. NASDAQ up 2.17%, mainly because of Friday. And the Russell up another whopping 1%. If we look at it year to date, guys, S&P is very close to breaking 20% only this year. It's not even from the bottom. That started October, November. This is amazing. This is going to be a V-shaped recovery that everyone's going to talk about. NASDAQ up 37.8%, Russell up 13.18%. You remember Russell was on the zero up until a few weeks ago? Very quickly gained the 14%. Bitcoin, Ether, not a good week. But still, year to date, Bitcoin is up 76%. ETH is up 56%. Everyone's waiting for the ETF. Until the ETF would be approved, nothing's going to happen on the crypto side. From the sector's perspective, indices, we can see the communication up almost 5% thanks to Meta. Energy up 1.84 thanks to increasing crude oil prices. But on the flip side, we see all the defensive ETFs down, the healthcare, the real estate, and the utilities. Double-clicking inside to the industries themselves. Regional banks are back and going up 5%. Semiconductors up thanks to Intel, NXPI. And who else reported this week? Another company. We'll see that in a second. But on the flip side, we have solar down 4%. Very bad earnings reports from most of the solar companies. Airlines giving back a bit of their gains, and gold miners. This is our weekly heat map. You can see that most of the companies that we know are green, but Microsoft is red. The reason for the red Microsoft is mainly because their earnings report was okay. Actually, it was a good earnings report, but they weren't able to convince the investors that you can make money from AI. So the huge run up to all-time high gave back a bit, but remember, Microsoft wasn't at all-time high. Google, on the other side, up almost 10% this week on a better than expected earnings report. And of course, Meta, another 6.8% on going back to growth. Let's talk about the news. Fed. The Fed itself approves a rate hike, and it's going to take the rates back to where they were 22 years ago, 5.25 to 5.5. This is crazy to think that the market is hitting almost new all-time highs with this level of rates. It shows that companies had so much fat that they could cut through and still perform very well. When we look at the rate hikes, 4 points that were mentioned during the decision. One is, of course, increasing by 25 basis points. It wasn't a unanimous decision. Fed will continue to assess additional information, and the future decision depends on upcoming economic data. Jerome Powell, I want to say, he wasn't dovish, but he wasn't hawkish. He said, look, we're encouraged by the CPI. We feel that things are on track for a soft landing. The Fed, right now, at least the team in the Fed, does not see recession in the horizon, and the market loved to hear that. GDP grew at a 2.4%, or GDP grows by a 2.4% pace, which means that this is the economy. The economy is still roaring. And if the economy is roaring, where is the recession? Recession needs two negative GDP prints. Maybe there will be a decisions calling Q1 and Q2 2022, almost a year and a half ago, saying that's when we had the recession and not now. Or we are going to see the recession, but it doesn't seem it's in the cards yet, unless something bad is going to happen to the economy. Everything is possible, but the numbers and the data do not support it right now. European Central Bank also hiking rates by another 25 basis points, but there's a huge difference between the inflation running in Europe very, very hot versus the US. And on Friday, the US PCE core deflator was also printed better than expected, or actually as expected. This is the Fed's, let's call it the Fed measurement, the preferred measurement. That would be the best definition for that. And you can see inflation dropping here as well. Japanese central bank, I told you it's going to start with a macro condition. Japanese central bank surprised the market by saying that they are going to try to provide some more monetary easing, and they're going to expand their rate control. They control the rates in a very aggressive way. They're going to expand their rate control and the band that they use. On Thursday, no one really understood where they're planning or what they're planning to do. The markets were uncertain, but on Friday, once they saw the decision, markets kept roaring higher. We talked about companies that reported. So we had NXPI, who was the second? Lam Research. It was the third chip company that I missed, the semiconductor. So let's summarize very quickly. We see the tech companies increasing their revenues, increasing their earnings per share. Meta back to growth. They were at about 7 to 8% growth. Now they're at 11, and they believe that next quarter is going to be even stronger. On the other hand, Snap, very low visibility to their forecasting to the next quarter, made the stock drop by almost 20%. What else did we see? We heard from Boeing, very strong earnings report. Tilray, very strong earnings report. Enphase and the whole solar companies did not have a good earnings report. Only First Solar, but they got crushed on Friday. Intel back to profitability after 2 quarters of being non-profitable. But when you dive into the numbers, almost all segments are losing revenue, are dropping in revenue. So yes, they're improving their metrics by improving the margins, but the business is in trouble. Ford, we'll talk about Ford in a second. They had a very good internal combustion engine or internal combustion business earnings, very good, but EV, big problem. And if the future is EV, then they have a problem with their future. Last but not least, the energy companies ExxonMobil and Chevron reported as well. Good revenues, not so good earnings, meaning that the profitability got hurt due to lower crude oil prices, and the stocks cannot find good footing, especially in a market that is looking for growth. The quote that everyone was looking this week. Morgan Stanley, Mike Wilson says, we were wrong. He said that he couldn't predict the AI boom, or at least he missed the AI boom. He missed the strength of the companies, the earnings coming from the companies. He's still pushing his bearish scenarios to 2024, but throwing in the towel, basically going through capitulation and saying, we were wrong. He's one of the bigger bears out there, and when he capitulates, this signals to the market that it can keep going up. Having said that, everything I said so far about the markets going up, I just want to remind everyone that I'm not a financial advisor, and everything and anything that you see on these videos is only for educational and entertainment purposes. Taiwan Semi is planning to invest $2.87 billion in advanced chip packaging, mainly for AMD and NVIDIA. Bank of California agrees to acquire PacWest in stock and money combination. And PacWest on Wednesday dropped by 27% and gained everything back on Thursday. Amazon and FTC. Lina Khan, going back to her roots in Yale, she wrote a paper about how Amazon is a monopoly. And now, as the head of FTC, she, at least according to Politico, is about to submit a lawsuit that could break up Amazon. Will it work? Will it not work? Depending on who you ask. Wednesday, the market thought it might work. Stock dropped. And Thursday and Friday, stock gained steam. Google building an AI into robots to teach them to throw out the trash. Did we hear of robots that know how to move themselves? Yes. Optimus. Tesla. Well, it would be very interesting to have Tesla's robot fighting Google's robot on who is throwing out the trash. And if we're talking about Tesla and the Cybertruck, we can see the Cybertruck on the road, and also the Ford F-150 near it. Comparable, not comparable, you choose, and you can actually see it driving around with a new camo wrap that they have. Everyone's waiting for the launch, and probably the launch would be on X. X is what you know as Twitter. Twitter does not exist anymore. Say X from now on. And if we're talking about X, this is the daily active users on Twitter. And you can see, although there are threads, although everyone in the media said Twitter is dead, look at the rate of growth on the daily active users. And according to Elon Musk, this is after they cleared a lot of the fake accounts and the bot accounts. Maybe Twitter is alive. Who knows? I'm using it a lot. So for me, it's truly alive. Apple. Of course, ticker AAPL, at least from the report, says that they told the suppliers to get ready for 85 million new iPhone 15s. The market took that as kind of a surprise because it means that Apple is not growing. But don't worry, behind the scene, apparently Apple is likely to increase the revenue. Why? Because they're going to charge us more for the new iPhones. Spotify also charging more for subscription plans. That's Spotify. Volkswagen takes a $700 million stake in XPeng, a Japanese EV company, in order to win back China. Volkswagen is out. Ford is out. All of them are out of China. They're trying to find ways to go in. This is another win, of course, for Tesla. And look who woke up. Cassandra. Cassandra is a code name for Michael Burry, the Big Short, who activates his account and deactivates depending on if the trade went well or not. This is a tweet that came out on the 27th saying maybe it's time for a market correction. By the way, I agree with him on the market correction front. The timing, let me show you why it came about. Thursday, we had a day called Reversal Day. Reversal Day is a day that you start green and you turn red in the middle of the day. These are usually days that predict a correction. Why do they predict a correction? Because every correction from 1993, when you look back a few days prior to that, there was a reversal day. But not every reversal day created a correction. Meaning, reversal day, reversal day, reversal day, reversal day, reversal day. Look how many reversal days and no correction. Same here, same here. So this is the first one this year. We might get a correction, but always in hindsight, it's 2020. Last but not least, we talked about Ford. EV, losing a lot of money. That's why the stock went down and didn't go up after relatively a good report. And by that, we just ended the news for this week. Let's talk about next week. You see how my face lit up, mainly because of this. Most anticipated earnings releases. So we have SoFi Monday morning and On Semis. Monday afternoon, we have Arista, Transocean, and others, ZoomInfo. And then we're picking up steam. Tuesday, before the bell, Norwegian, Uber, Pfizer, and Caterpillar. After the close, we have AMD, Devon, Starbucks, Pinterest, MicroStrategy, and others. Wednesday, we have CVS, Humana, Generic, and others. And Wednesday, after the close, PayPal, Shopify, Qualcomm, Oxy, Unity, and Robinhood. We're going down the market caps, and now we're with a more volatile stocks. Thursday, the biggest day of the week, with Amazon and Apple reporting. Also, Coinbase and Block, formerly known as Square, Airbnb, DraftKings, Cloudflare, Fortinet, and others. And on Friday, Fubo, Nikola, Fisker, Magna, and others. We don't have any specific economic releases except Friday that we're going to get the unemployment report, very important report. And then let's go back to our charts as we usually end this weekly summary. And from a chart perspective, we are 2.5% from all-time high on the S&P. Do you remember where you were 13th of October 2022? We are now, as of the close of Friday, 32% above the low. The situation that we have right now in our hands is a very interesting situation. Retail is always more attentive, let's call it, to the market. Lower account sizes, a lot more of holder account or HODL account. So participated and enjoyed the rally. The big funds, the ones that analyze markets, say that this, it shouldn't have happened. They're underexposed to equities. They're overexposed to bonds. They're overexposed to cash, which means that now they need to chase. And if they need to chase, this might fuel another leg of the rally. All this should, and at least from my perspective, can and needs to happen only after a correction. It shouldn't be a deep correction. It shouldn't be dramatic, but we should give back about 5% before we run again. Because every time we keep running without a correction, it only increases the likelihood of having a bigger correction. So if you're a bull, wait for a correction, or at least anticipate the correction. If you're a bear, wait for a correction, at least to start covering your shorts, because this is not getting better. So if you're a bull or a bear, write down in the comments below if you enjoyed the rally or you're still waiting for something to happen. Next 3 weeks, unfortunately, no weekly summaries. But right after that, we're back to weekly summaries. We're back in the studio, weekly summaries. Micha Stocks saying, enjoy your summer. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.